My name is Jordan Roll and my student ID is 2221739. The assignment given is to perform a presentation on an advocacy topic allocated by the topic coordinator. This presentation is about Dylan Alcott and advocacy. The presentation will look into what advocacy is, who Dylan Alcott is, Dylan Alcott and advocacy, the Dylan Alcott Foundation, and motivational speaking. What is advocacy? Advocacy refers to the endorsing of the interests and/or causes of somebody or a group of people. When a person or a group argue for, recommend, or support a cause, they are referred to as an advocate. Advocacy can also be about helping people to find their voice. When looking at the advocacy of people with disabilities, there are several different types. A few key types are self-advocacy, which refers to the capabilities of an individual to communicate, convey, negotiate, and assert their own interests, desires, needs, and rights in an effective manner. Self-advocacy also refers to the understanding of your strengths and needs, the identification of your personal goals, having knowledge of your legal rights and responsibilities, as well as communicating these to other people. Individual advocacy. Individual advocacy comes in two different common forms, informal and formal advocacy. Informal advocacy refers to the occurrence of various people such as parents, friends, family members, or agencies speaking up for and advocating for vulnerable people. Whereas formal advocacy more commonly involves organizations that pay their staff to advocate for someone or groups of individuals. Systemic advocacy. Systemic advocacy refers to the changing policies, laws, and rules that can impact on the way an individual lives their life. These efforts can be targeted at either a local, state, or national agency, and the focus can be changing laws or written or unwritten policies. What is being targeted depends on the type of people and also who has authority over the situation. Who is Dylan Alcott? Dylan Alcott is an Australian Paralympian, wheelchair basketballer, wheelchair tennis player, music festival organizer, radio co-host, motivational speaker, and Dylan Alcott Foundation founder. Alcott was born with a tumor wrapped around his spinal cord. The tumor was removed successfully, however, left Alcott paraplegic, requiring him to use a wheelchair. Alcott has not let his wheelchair stop him from achieving great things. For example, gold medals for tennis, multiple sporting awards. An earlier example of Alcott not letting his wheelchair hold him back is in an interview from the television show Interview with Andrew Denton. Denton asked what Alcott's relationship with brother Zach Alcott was like when they were growing up. Alcott told a story of a time when him and his brother would always fight over the television remote, and on one instance, Alcott used his wit and clever thinking to ultimately win the remote from his brother, which he then stated was an awesome feeling to have happened throughout his childhood with his brother, because he realized his brother treated him like he didn't have a wheelchair, which he ultimately thought was beneficial when growing up. Dylan Alcott and advocacy. Advocacy has become a huge part of not only Alcott's career, but also his life. Alcott has stated, "When I was getting bullied about my disability, if I could have turned on the radio and heard someone like me, or put on the TV and see someone in a wheelchair, if I had seen that, it would have changed my life instantly." This statement shows the main motives to why Alcott has become an advocate, to become the person he wished he had, like in the media or on TV when he was growing up. An example of Alcott and advocacy is when Alcott said 1 in 5 people have a disability. Therefore, he believes we don't talk about it enough. Dylan recommends just having the conversations go for gold. They may be awkward, but they are worth it ultimately. A quote from Alcott that I believe is really good is that I just live my life because I love living my life. And if that inspires people to get out there and do other things, that's awesome. This shows the type of person he is, and then shows the type of person he is about advocacy. And it shows that he's not going to stop telling his story if it somehow helps people and if it gives people a voice when they don't have one. God does advocacy in a variety of different ways, from being a motivational speaker, having a foundation, and just simply being in the public eye being himself. Alcott being in the public eye and being himself is a fantastic form of advocacy because it not only shows that people with a disability can do whatever they want, how they want, there are no limitations, but it also shows people without a disability who people with disabilities are and that they can do anything that anyone else can do if they put their mind to it. And this is a great thing that Alcott is trying to show just by being him. Looking at the type of advocate Dylan Alcott is, I believe he would come under the umbrella of individual advocacy, as he speaks up for people who don't have a voice through sharing his story, but then also through his foundation, he also helps fund people. For example, he helped a kid get a new tennis wheelchair so he could develop his skills in wheelchair tennis. The Dylan Alcott Foundation. The Dylan Alcott Foundation was created by Alcott to ideally help enhance the lives of young people with disabilities by removing the barriers of entry to get involved in sport and study through mentoring, grants, and scholarships. As a part of the Dylan Alcott Foundation, Alcott came up with Ability Fest. Ability Fest is a music festival that people with a disability can attend as well as anyone else, and it is adapted to their every need. For example, having ramps for the wheelchairs and a quiet chill out zone with headphones. This idea came about from the fact that Alcott really likes music festivals and really felt included by everyone that attended them, so he wanted to create that feeling that he experienced for everyone else. So anyone can attend the fest for a fun-filled day. Motivational speaking. Motivational speaking is a big part of Alcott's advocacy. It's just him and a mic telling his story with no filter. Alcott likes to get his message across, but to break up the seriousness of the topic that he may be talking about, he always adds humor, just like a normal conversation that you would have with him. An example of this was in a TED Talk where Alcott was trying to say there are worse things than being in a wheelchair, as some other people may think. While he was saying this, a picture of Crocs popped up behind him, making it funny because he was saying Crocs are worse than being in a wheelchair. By motivational speaking, Alcott is able to advocate by just telling a simple story about his life. Dylan Alcott feels very passionate towards his foundation and advocacy in general due to nothing like this being around when he was growing up, and wants to give children the best advantage he can and create a positive representation.